Hashtag Chef on Tour, Medellín, and we are going straight into the belly of the beast, into the fashion world with our friend Sebastián Diez, who's opened up his agenda to talk to us today about Inexmoda. So I'm gonna let him do the talking on this one because I know that they cover a lot of different areas in the fashion world here in Colombia, and as it's represented within Colombia and it's represented abroad. So, hey man, thanks a lot for coming out here to hang out with us.
Thank you guys for coming.
And for having us on this beautiful rooftop with the beautiful day. It feels like springtime here.
It is. It's always spring in Medellin. It's always spring.
So tell me a little bit about what's going on, what you're doing with Inexmoda.
Well, Inexmoda is moda, if you didn't know, is fashion in Spanish,
fashion, right?
Moda. So Inexmoda is a non-profit organization. It's a 36-year-old organization, and we are the creators and the developers of the most important fashion weeks in Latin America, Colombia Tex and Colombia Moda, Colombia's fashion week. So Medellin is considered to be one of the fashion capitals in Latin America.
Okay, so when you say you cover fashion throughout Latin America, does that mean you cover like Sao Paulo and Mexico City and stuff like that too, or?
Well, actually, our shows are the most important trade shows in the Americas. There is not a show like Colombia Tex or Colombia Moda in the Americas. We have exhibitors from Brazil, we have exhibitors from Mexico, Peru. Obviously, we have a lot of exhibitors from Colombia, obviously, because we're based
hometown.
Here. Yeah, but we have exhibitors from all over the world. Actually, Colombia Tex, one of our shows, is one of the most renowned shows in the world, one of the top 6 shows of its kind.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so this happens what time of the year?
This happens, Colombia Tex happens in January. Showcasing textiles, machinery, chemicals for the fashion industry. We have a huge industry here in Colombia. We have very strong brands. The industry here is around 150 years old.
Wow.
In our country.
150.
And then we have Colombia Moda in July, which is considered to be the most important fashion week in Latin America. We have exhibitors at the show. We have over 25 runways during the event. And a lot of brands exhibiting and doing activities, parties. There's a lot going on in the city.
Sounds like we're going to see Chef Charles Webb or Chef on Tour back at some point with a collaboration. Sounds like a good time.
Yep.
So you've seen it grow, and you see, obviously, you're looking at it from a lot of different angles. You're looking at it from internal and then external. Like you said, a lot of different countries are coming in. What are some trends that you're seeing happening now that you're really excited about?
I mean, Colombia is a very creative country.
We see that everywhere.
Yeah, it's very creative. Once you get to Medellin, you feel the creativity not only in brands, fashion brands, but also in restaurants. There's a lot of galleries. There's a lot of art. There's a lot of dining out, which is very interesting. I think Colombia has developed very strong brands, but also there's a lot of emerging brands that are very interesting.
Okay, so it's moving and grooving. It sounds like it's just, and as they continue to kind of grow their presence internally and then of course scale across the world, do you help them with resources or try to do a lot of like dot connecting with some of these brands, or are they actually handling that by themselves and then you're just kind of like highlighting them?
Yeah, every year we do training to around 600 brands from all over the country, especially Colombia, because this is a nonprofit organization that was created for the Colombian market. So we do training for 600 brands. Then we bring them to our shows to showcase them to buyers, to visitors, to the press. We have, for example, Colombia Moda has around 70,000 visitors, 70,000 visitors. That's like 2 full stadiums. So we try to showcase these brands to have them do business, to have them do press. We showcase them in runways. If you guys go to our website, inexmoda.org.co, you're gonna find most of these runways in our YouTube channel, and the brands are amazing. It's a show. It's amazing to see. Once you get to Medellin during the fashion week, everything breathes fashion. The whole city breathes fashion.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like there's a couple of things that really make the city pop, and fashion is definitely one of them. So you have so many shopping malls in Medellin. I'm actually surprised by that, that you have so many probably per capita. And where's like 1 or 2 like the shopping malls or outlets where you would see more emerging brands in?
I would say not the traditional shopping malls.
So not like El Tesoro.
El Tesoro has, I mean, we have big shopping malls where you're going to find, for example, Viva, Envigado, and El Tesoro are some of these bigger shopping malls where you find the multinational brands, but also emerging brands.
I've seen a lot of new boutiques opening up that has me scratching my head. And of course, I'm always running and gunning. So I'm watching things from, the street, and I'm not going in there as probably as much. And, and then I'm like thinking to myself, are those just guys trying to sell the usual suspects of brands? Or are they doing something different? And there's a lot of things when I get to the window, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, actually a lot of brands that are working with sustainability. So this is something that's very attractive to to international visitors that get
Sure.
here, because all these brands are working with communities or they're working with sustainable fibers and textiles. So this makes Colombia not only a very creative destination, but also a very different destination for shopping.
You see, that brings up another really good question. Medellin is a very sustainable city, isn't it? I think it had won some awards along the way, and they're really focused on keeping it, I mean, you could just feel in the air. It's like so crisp and clean. And do you see anything, and as far as trends wise, in like the sustainable world? I mean, and with fashion, and then how that bleeds into like Medellin itself?
Yeah, it is. Actually, when you get to Medellin, the city has won a lot of awards because it's very green. The mayor's office has created a lot of green corridors. So one of the highlights of the city when people get here is, you know, people get surprised because the city is so green. They see trees and plants everywhere, which is not usual.
What's something that you're really excited about going forward?
I'm really excited about how Medellin has become so international because of the creativity and because of the music industry. Actually, if Medellin was a country, it would be the 4th most played city or country in Spotify.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's the city with the most remote workers.
Yeah, remote. They are
nomads.
immigrants.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people like to use
nomads.
the word expat, but it's really, you know, it became a catchy word, but really people are immigrating to another place. So I think that immigrant is actually the exact way to put it. And it's not a negative connotation, it's a positive connotation.
No, it's a good, and the digital nomads, you know, people that are working.
We really understand that for us to be able to tell your story, for me to be the conduit of what you're doing, this is what the audience wants to understand of what's going on. Because if I pick up my laptop and I could go live anywhere in the world, and as people have been able to put their little, their little toes in the water, you know, metaphorically speaking, and feel very comfortable about going to Mexico City, the next logical place is Medellin.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So we're really excited about that. And I think probably we've taken up so much of your time. We're really grateful to hear your story. How can everyone find you?
Well, you can find us at, you know, all of social media as Inexmoda, INEXMODA. Our website is inexmoda.org.co.
.org.co.
Yeah, I highly recommend our YouTube channel. You're going to find all the runways from our fashion weeks there. It's a very special content where you're going to be able to grasp some of the creativity that we talked about in our runways.
Yeah, well, we'll be on our way to that part of the world. Hashtag Chef on Tour Medellin with my friend Sebastian. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you guys for coming. Welcome to Medellin, everybody.
It's a pleasure to be here.